Okay, everybody. I have something really cool to tell you about. If you haven't heard yet about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain here. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one single place. Now, the way that you can do this is you got to download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm, and then you can get started. It's really fun. We just switched over recently here at All Too Real 2, and I'm enjoying it so far. So be sure to check it out and let us know what you think.
What in the universe is that?
I'll be the new emperor, and I will be the master of the whole universe. Time for a little robot chauvinism. Chauvinism.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is, well, at least social distancing away from me today, is my co-host.
And, friend.
Oh, yeah,
and confidant, Matthew Starr.
Matthew Starr.
Matthew Hofstar.
Matthew Hofstar.
Yeah.
Hofstar.
Yeah. Hofstar, yes.
Yes. You changed your name?
Well, I realized that I'm a distant relative of the main character in Starcrash, whose name is Stella Star. I'm like her, great nephew or something like that, so...
Well, you know, you should capitalize on that and maybe make a sequel to Starcrash.
Sure, yeah, that could be cool.
So, yes, as we've mentioned, the film that we are covering today is the 1978 classic Starcrash, directed by Luigi Cozzi under the name Louis Coates. Yep. He changed his name for some reason. I mean, I think Luigi Cozzi sounds better.
It does. A lot better.
And the film stars, pun intended, actors such as Marjo Gortner, Caroline Munro, Joe Spinell, David Baywatch Hasselhoff, and for some reason, Christopher fucking Plummer. Yes. Sound of Music, star, Christopher Plummer.
He must have been like drunk or something when he accepted that role.
I heard that the reason he accepted the role, or should I say I read, because I didn't actually hear it, was that they filmed the movie in Rome, and he said he'd do it just because it was in Rome.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
that's hilarious.
Yeah. So he said he would do... basically, I think the quote that I read from him, he says, I would do a porn film if it was shot in Rome.
Whoa. Well, hey, Italian porn's probably, pretty good, but... well, yeah, that's like a working vacation right there,
Yeah.
See, you gotta be smart, when you're an actor, when you're entertainment, you gotta plan things, hey, you save on money because you're working, so you're making money, but you're also in a different location, so there you go. You get best of both worlds.
Yes.
You get to play the Emperor in possibly the worst sci-fi film of all time, and on break you get to drink wine and whatever. And
yes. Oh boy. So, what is this movie about, Matt? What happens in it?
What it's about? I mean, I don't know. It's about many things, I guess. There's two smugglers. It's Stella Starr, played by Caroline Munro, and then her alien, just sidekick, I guess. And he doesn't look like an alien. He looks like a human, but played by Margot, or Margot, whatever, I can't say his name, but Margot or something.
Gordon. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. The former child preacher for Pentecostalism in America.
Yeah, it's the youngest one ever, I believe, at 4 years old.
Yeah, like officially ordained because, I guess they have some kind of process that, you have to go through to actually be, official, and that's parents pretty much basically because he's a good orator and he can memorize lines really good, which in this movie is really not very many lines that you need to memorize or whatever. But they're smugglers, and they get caught by the police after finding like a crash site of another ship, and they find one survivor, and the guy's talking about red monsters killing everyone. Turns out that the ship kind of went through, I guess they crossed like some kind of invisible threshold, and these weird red transparent bubbles just appeared inside their ship somehow and caused everyone to go insane. Like that's some weird weapon that someone has, and you're going to find out soon who this someone is because it's hilarious. Great name too, Count Zarth with a Z. Oh, wonder what that sounds like. Zarth and Darth. I'm pretty sure that's just a coincidence. Hey, he's wearing a cape, vampire cape, and his name is Count, so that's totally a coincidence. He's a vampire lord, okay, in space.
Yes, and Joe Spinell, who plays him, looks like a I don't know, like the Wish version of Gomez Adams or something. I don't know what the fuck's going on. But anyways.
I know. So yeah, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So yeah, so they this weapon makes people go insane, I guess. And then right after they save this guy or whatever. Oh, by the way, it's hilarious. So like when Stella is like, I'm gonna go check this out or whatever, she puts on like all of this like protective gear. Normally she's just wearing like a skimpy kind of outfit because she was a hot woman in the 70s, and so they wanted to capitalize on that. But she put on like her spacesuit and everything. She goes outside the ship, and then she goes like through these weird like tunnels or whatever. And then she gets the guy out. But she just carries the guy in just his regular clothes out into the vacuum of space. And so like, wait a minute, so it's okay for him to just be exposed to the elements and it's fine, but she has to like put on all this protective gear, whatever. I think they just failed to see that because, they wrote this movie in 10 days and probably filmed it in like 20, so they probably missed a bunch of stuff. And so the cops come. They go, "Oh, it must be the cops." That's their line in the movie. And it's got this guy wearing 5-hour green paint on his face, but not his neck, because you can see his neck is white. So they didn't even bother to color all of his body, just in case any other part of his body but his face was ever exposed. And then a robot / droid with a southern accent, or a very stereotypical southern accent, rather. I don't get it, Mike. And
his name is L.
Yeah, L.
Yeah.
Just L.
And
L.
And he's played by Judd Hamilton. And and like you said, he sounds like like I said, he sounds like a like Roscoe from Dukes of Hazzard or something. He's just like freaking stereotypical Southern cop sounding. It's just I
know, it's just so jarring to hear, and not only that too, like he walks like a human. Like in Star Wars, C-3PO walks very robotic. R2-D2, it's the same thing. This guy is like practically off, like stretching his legs and doing all these kind of like, human-like postures. And like, okay, I'm not buying the idea that this guy is a robot, like at all. just not seeing it. So they chase him into hyperspace. Eventually they get caught because, the cops can follow them into hyperspace. And then they go to this weird trial where this disembodied weird alien head type of thing in like a tube is the judge of the universe, I guess. They didn't really explain who this person was, and he's the only time he shows up in the entire film. And then he sentenced the alien to like 250 years hard labor because I guess this alien is like immortal, so whatever. And then he sends Stella Star to a different penal colony for, basically hard labor for the rest of her life. So then they go to some, makeshift prison where the prisoners are like carrying like this weird radioactive, like giant ball that they put in like a furnace for some reason. Not sure what.
No, what the deal was. And it's and then after that they come and rescue her.
But wait, though, she starts a prison raid, gets all of her prisoners killed.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. After that,
yeah.
So she's killed more people so far in the movie than the frickin' villain.
Right. Who we don't even meet yet. Yeah. The movie. Like, he shows up later after all of this. So she literally goes to her places because they gave her like a 5-minute break for rest and whatever. And she's literally just talking out in the open, doing the prison escape. It's like, hey, dude, there's like guards like just walking all around you. Like, she's like, there's gotta be a way we can escape from this place. It's weird because her companions, who were her fellow prisoners, literally like right before that, they're like, you better keep working or they're gonna hit you with their energy whips or whatever. And then she's like, they're all like afraid, like just keep your head down, do what you're told, don't cause a scene or whatever. And then she's like, but there must be a way to escape. And then literally right after that, they're like, there is a way to escape. It's like, okay, so what changed their belief all of a sudden from keep your head down, do what you're told to we're gonna break out of this motherfucker? Like, what the hell happened?
I don't know.
Bad acting happened, but
it's such great writing,
Yeah. So they get killed because the guards start shooting their lasers at everyone. Her two companions die after basically protecting her. She just literally just watches them die and then just walks outside of the prison and then finds the ship landing. And they, like you said, it turns out that they just came to they canceled her prison sentence.
Which if we would have been there like 30 seconds earlier, those people wouldn't have died.
Right. I don't know. Maybe it was for the best.
Yeah. I don't know. They didn't give you enough time to care about those people before they died either, but
Right. It was just, yeah, exactly. There's no character development. Well, there is a little bit in this film, but not much.
Yeah.
Like, Acton, he's a pretty main character throughout most of the film, so, Stella, obviously, Christopher Plummer's Emperor. So, yeah, so this is so different than Star Wars, because in this movie, the Emperor is the good guy, and the bad guy is Count Zarth. So they just kind of took Star Wars and just split it up into two, instead of the Emperor and Zarth working together. Now they're just diametrically opposed to each other. So that's a big difference between this and Star Wars. Just got to make sure you know that.
Yes.
And,
oh, yeah, and by the way, earlier on in the movie, there's like this weird floating head thing that sentenced her.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just me, but the head, for some odd reason, looks like Donald Trump to me.
Yeah, it does a little bit. I was actually wondering if I was seeing that, or someone did a weird editing thing and put that in there, to kind of mess with you.
But no, when I'm watching it, I'm like, is that Donald Trump? Was he in this movie? No.
He might have been. Let's see, 78. He would have been 30 at the time.
Yeah, he could have been him.
Traipsing around the world with his daddy's money or whatever. Wow. Back when we could travel around the world, because certain people, don't take certain things seriously, but whatever. And
speaking of Trump, yeah. Anyways, so what happens next here, Matt?
Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to follow the linear plot as much as possible here. They say her sentence was canceled. They even use the word canceled. It sounds so hokey and weird.
Yes.
Who says that? Anyway, by the way, your prison sentence is canceled. Okay, what? School's canceled? What? But
it was just a bad TV series,
Yeah. Yeah.
The only time prison and cancel should be involved in the same sentence are when they canceled Prison Break. But anyways, that was a really bad joke.
Yeah.
But, okay.
It's a good joke, though. It's a good bad joke.
Yes.
Starring my favorite dudes, Leonard Starr and Mick Rory. Well, the actors played those characters. That's not their names, but
yes.
So they say basically this was kind of like a trick, I guess, to see how good of a pilot she was. I guess they were testing her in Acton because they need them to rescue the Emperor's son, who later on is played by David Hasselhoff, and any other survivors, because they need to. The way the Emperor described it is that the whole universe is now divided between two warring factions, both his side and Count Zarth, his side, the dark. By the way, he's not just part of the dark side. No. Count Zarth is the leader of the Legion of Dark Worlds, man. Way cooler name than the dark side. Just saying. Starcrash actually has a one-up on Star Wars right here, but
yes, that's actually the name of my new band.
What, the Legion of Dark Worlds?
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. Actually, it's pretty cool.
Yes.
So he says, "Hey, you and Acton, the child preacher, need to go and save the universe, I guess, or something." So they're like, "Oh, okay." So they go and leave or something, and she goes off to do something. I forgot what. He stays on the ship for whatever reason. He's just playing with fucking energy or some bullshit. Really great graphics, by the way, with these weird laser little energy things he's playing with his hands. And the green guy, Thor the green guy, not Hulk, Thor.
Yeah, and who looks like Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
but his name's Thor.
That.
Yep.
Yeah, his name was. It's really confusing. Wait a minute, you look like you got the green paint like the Hulk, but your name is Thor, but you look like fucking Drax. What the hell is going on? And spoiler alert, it turns out Thor is a double agent that's working for Count Zarth. Oh no! And he's really sold it too, because at one point they have a big star battle, and he's pretending to be on the Emperor's side, so he's shooting against his own companions here to make sure that he keeps his cover, and eventually they win that battle, and then they zoom right onto the door, and he goes, "We did it, we won," as he's nodding his head. I'm like, yeah, such passion, man.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. And then he knocks out Acton, and then he tries to take over the ship, but Acton put a bunch of fail-safe mechanisms into the ship so that couldn't be reprogrammed. Later on, we learn it's because Acton apparently can see into the future, so he's a seer now as well, but he was not allowed to tell anyone about the future, so he can do stuff that he knows will change the future for some reason, but he can't tell anyone else about the future because they'll want to change the future. But wait, what?
Yeah, that wasn't lazy.
Then,
that wasn't lazy writing at all. That wasn't creating a character just for plot devices at all.
No, Acton is almost too perfect of a character. Like, he can't die. Well, later on he does for no reason, but he can literally withstand like laser shots to the chest. Doesn't do anything to him as long as he activates like the super stay-on power or whatever. And then, which for some reason he doesn't have activated at all times for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe it makes him tired. And then, so he kills Thor, the green guy, by reflecting the laser shots to him. And he's like doing this weird like shaking motion as he's doing it, kind of like Bruce Lee did like whenever he would like win a fight in one of his movies where he's making like his whole body like pulsate or whatever. Okay, this is some weird shit. Meanwhile, Stella is like traipsing around all the planets trying to, with L, by the way, the robot southern guy, and they go.
Stella Star.
I don't remember what's the Stella Star.
Stella Star. How'd you go do that?
God, and well, I don't know which planet they went on first, but I know they went on a few. So it was like Rise of Skywalker, where they went on way too many planets with too little of time. Granted, Rise of Skywalker's better in this movie, barely, but it is. Sorry, that was mean.
So, hey Matt, do you want to take a break really quick, and then we'll come back to the plot of this this epic film?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we'll be right back, folks.
Hi, folks. This is Michael E. Cullen II from the podcast that you're listening to right now, along with
manager Matthew Haas.
You got promoted?
Yes.
Damn it. Okay, anyways, folks, do you like the show Superstore? I don't know. I asked the folks and nobody's answering me.
Because they're not here.
Oh,
but we love
damn it. Yeah, we love it, though. Okay, folks, if you like it as much as we do, you're really going to like the Super Story podcast, which is a podcast where Matthew and I go episode by episode and give our little opinions and thoughts on it. Sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. Just depends on how we're feeling.
Yeah.
And, so if you like this podcast and like our little crazy banter,
then you should definitely check this out. Or I might get sad. And when I get sad, it gets pretty sad.
yeah,
So
I can't deal with him when he's sad.
no one can really. So
Yeah. So check out Super Story Podcast right here where you get this podcast, Super Story Podcast.
Any day, Quaff.
I'm ready.
When you need magical appraisal, you won't find a wizard as wizened as Wizard Quaff.
The world is expendable in the grand scale of my hatred for creatures beyond my understanding. And you, Magus Elgar.
Even if he has some peculiar preferences.
Abominations! Curb your tongue, lest you uncork my lust for opiates!
You can hear Wizard Quaff and his exciting adventures in the upcoming radio comedy, Magus Elgar.
Visit MagusElgar.com to download your copy today.
And we are back.
Yes, we are.
We're back.
They built you with 2 shakes of a rabbit's ass or something. I don't know.
Hey, when a bird's in a tree, it means that a bird's in a tree.
That's right.
I don't know what that means, but
I do know.
When a spaceship's in the sky,
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
And back to Star Crash.
Or Crash Star, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter to me.
So you know, they crash on some planets, but they never once crash on a star.
Never. Not once.
Unless they're talking about... Unless they're talking about the fact that Stella Star crashes.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, technically she does a lot. She crashes a lot. So, it is a star crash in a sense. And yet, somehow she's supposed to be the best pilot in the galaxy somehow. I don't know. And then, but yet she's done nothing but make mistakes the entire time. Okay, whatever. And then, so, they go on these different planets, like in Rise of Skywalker, but they go on so many it's ridiculous. I don't remember the order, but I know one of them is that it's a bunch of Amazons that run this planet, and they are, I guess, they're part of like the Dark Legion of Worlds. They're working for Count Zarth, and
yeah,
they kidnap, they kidnap Stella and Elle, and then they get this weird, like, giant robotic, like, statue, like metal statue thing, just like standing there.
That has nipples.
What's that?
That has nipples.
Yeah, it's got a breast because probably it's supposed to be like a female, warrior to symbolize, the rest of them. So like, and they're all dressed all scantily clad as well. So it becomes like this, like, hot girl fight going on, and really shitty karate chops, like martial arts have gotten so much better since the 70s, like, or fighting scenes in general, because I've noticed that a lot of shows and movies in the 70s, they all do, like, this weird chop motion a lot in, like, movies and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And got a lot better.
Well, it's like fighting in general. It's like if you watch the, like, A New Hope of the, the Star Wars movies, and that lightsaber battle between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, and you compare that to, in the prequel trilogy, when you've got the last battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin, it's like so much more advanced fighting.
Oh yeah, totally. So yeah,
but somehow it was supposed to happen before the others. But anyways, well, that's for another day.
Yeah. So they try to kidnap her. They just leave Elle there on the floor with the fucking gun right by his hand. Like, that was just some interesting little, we knocked him out, but we gave him a weapon just in case he wakes up. So, of course, he wakes up, and then the most hilarious thing ever, like, he goes full on, like, Southern. He's like, I'm gonna blast you if you don't let her go. I mean, it's like the worst thing ever. Like, I'm gonna turn your queen's brain to space mush or something like that. He didn't say that, but like, it's just like, what the hell is going on? He's like, don't you dare open that door. It's like, he's like, come on, Stella, we're going. What the hell?
Oh boy! I will tell you, the leader of the Amazon women was really hot, though.
Yeah, well, they all were, but she was particular. She kind of reminded me of I forgot her name. The lead singer of Heart. She reminded me of her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't think of her name though. Wilson, right?
Nancy?
Shit, whatever. Nancy was. I don't know if she was Nancy or the other one. I don't remember. But yeah, one of the Wilson sisters are. Great band, by the way. If you're not familiar with Heart, you should really check out like their first 3 albums. Really good stuff. But
I saw them in concert once.
Oh, really? Sweet.
Yeah, back in the 90s, I'm going to say. Yeah.
Yeah, great band. Great songwriting.
Yeah, it was Heart and Cheap Trick. That was a good concert.
Cheap Trick?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so then what happens here?
Well, they escape, and then the Amazon Queen, she like shoots lasers out of her eyes and goes, "Avenge me," or "Take my revenge," and then that gives life to the big statue thing. And I gotta tell you, this like special effects was like way better than anything we saw in Rise of Skywalker. Like just the way it walked like a stiff log and was just making like crashing sounds. I mean, God, like way better than anything I've ever seen, like in Star Wars or any of those like Silly Sci-fi.
The director
movies.
said he was a big fan of Ray Harryhausen, who was known for doing all those stop motion like Jason and the Argonauts and stuff like that. So yeah, that it was very much in line with that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's what it looked like. So, and this thing was pretty easy to beat. I mean, like she threw the sword at Stella at one point, and it trapped her, and then Elle had to go, knock it out or whatever. But then the ship came back, and then I think it was Acton shot it with a bunch of lasers, so then it killed the statue or whatever, and then they, went back on the ship, and then Acton told them about, Thor's betrayal and all that jazz, and then they had to go to a new planet. This one was an ice planet, which is interesting. This came out before Empire Strikes Back, so I'm thinking, hey, they're like, hey, they're gonna steal our shit. We're gonna steal from them for our next movie and do an ice planet thing. So
yes,
yeah,
Hoth would have never happened if it wasn't for Starcrash.
Maybe we don't know, but it's possible. I mean, it'd be great revenge, really, because they obviously ripped off the story so much. So,
yeah,
they go on ice planet, whatever it is. They're, Acton told them, that, this planet will drop like thousands of degrees, like within the second the sun sets. So you need to be sheltered at that point. Well, they didn't make it in time. So Owl apparently has some weird fancy robot powers. He can regulate someone's temperature somehow just by holding their hand. I think he was just trying to make an excuse to like hold her hand or something like that because he had a crush on her. But like,
yeah, of course,
because at one point he even said when he was trying to protect her, he's like, this is time for some robot chauvinism. I'm like, okay, that's some weird like political point. I don't know, whatever. And what the fuck?
You robot chauvinist pig, you. No.
Yeah, exactly. You robot chauvinist. I'm gonna go, and you stay right here. And of course, he ends up fucking up, and then she ends up getting attacked or kidnapped. That's later, but whatever. So he regulates her temperature somehow by holding her hand, and then he wakes up or whatever, takes her to the ship, and Acton thaws her out with his magical force abilities, which they don't say is the force, or whatever. And then she's like back. It was weird because she was wearing like a suit when she was, in the ice planet. But then somehow when he thawed her out, I guess thawed out all of her clothes, just melted her clothes. And then she was back to wearing like her underwear and bikini again. So I don't know. And then her makeup was completely like, like it just been put on. So that's an interesting force ability, I guess like a beauty force ability or something that he has. But whatever. and then they gotta go to another planet. I know I'm missing. Oh no. Okay, so Count Zarth, his minions are like these like little claymation robot things that look like it came from the fucking Jack Frost cartoon from the 70s.
Yeah. Very Ray Harryhausen again, yeah.
Yeah. These things were terrible looking. And they were making these weird like metal sounds, but like almost like a sizzling sound, like they were like spinning something, or it was weird.
They were making bacon. Oh wait.
Yeah. It looked like they were cooking something, like cooking metal, or I don't know.
Yeah.
And then that's those are his big robot warriors, I guess, or whatever. So they go to a different planet this time, but this planet's kind of like cavemen live here, so it is kind of like Star Wars, where different planets have different like levels of civilization. Like some planets are like super advanced, and others are still kind of like in like the Stone Age. So this
or like Star Trek in a way too, because that's what happened on on Star Trek. There was a lot of they'd visit different planets that were some were advanced, some weren't.
Yeah. So they completely destroy El, like basically beating him into pieces, knock his head off, tear him limb from limb. So El's pretty much dead at this point, so we think. And then they kidnap Stella, and presumably, I'm thinking they kidnapped her because she's hanging by a fire with her head, upside down, and it looks like they're eating like meat. I'm assuming they're eating like human meat, but if they already have meat to eat, like already, who's the other person that they killed? I don't know, whatever. Again, I don't think they thought that through. But and so she's calling out for help and stuff, and then suddenly this humanoid in a weird like alien mask who showed up earlier, he kind of peeked his head above like a sandbar or something like that earlier in this scene. And turns out that he's David Hasselhoff, and he could shoot lasers from his eyes somehow.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how. And then so David, so the Hoff, the Hoff does not like the hassling, so he saves her.
Don't hassle the Hoff, man. Don't hassle the Hoff.
Don't hassle the Hoff. So he saves her, and then they go and leave, and then the cavemen, they find that they start to fight him, and then Acton shows up in complete brutality mode with a laser sword that's blue, and he just
have we seen anything like that in any other films before this?
I don't know, like a laser sword that's blue. I don't know, like I can't really think of anything like that.
No. If I were to call it something, I might call it something like a light saber, a light saber. Yeah, that's what I might call it.
Yeah, like a lightsaber, something like that. That's a good name.
Yeah,
so
I should copyright that. Yeah. We should copyright. Yeah, lightsaber. It's a good idea.
So he goes in absolute like murder mode here. Like he looks like he's just like got like filled with rage, and he's like just like jumping off of like rocks and like slicing down any caveman he can find, even the ones that are running away, he's killing them. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, they surrendered. You don't need to kill them. But whatever. And then he, explains, what's going on or whatever. And then, Hasselhoff reveals that he's the prince, or he's the one that they've been looking for, blah,
Prince
blah, blah.
Simon.
That's right, Simon. Simon says that they gotta go now to find Count Zarth's secret lair planet, whatever, because his weapon is the size of an entire planet. I wonder where we heard that. A weapon that's so huge, it's like a planet size?
Well,
that's really interesting.
Well, I'll give him this. In Star Wars, it was only the size of a moon.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll give him that. So Count Zarth has a planet, so it's like my weapon's bigger than your weapon type of thing. So, of course, the Death Star shoots out lasers that destroys the planet. This fucking weapon is just a bunch of red bubbles that makes you go crazy, so I'm not sure which is worse, but I know which one looks cooler, so whatever.
I don't know.
They go to the lair. Oh no, they survive. Because just like the one ship, once they cross a certain threshold, that's when the weapon attacks. Because I guess it has like a radius that it can't go beyond a certain point. That you have to be with its limit to be controlled by the weapon, which seems kind of. It ain't going to because the Death Star can just shoot like millions of miles away, but you got to be in range for this weapon to attack you. Okay. It's like, what? That seems kind of dumb. Okay, so...
It's bigger but less advanced.
Yeah. It's bigger, bigger but less advanced. Well, that sounds like our president. Oh, sorry.
So, yeah.
Body blow.
Speaking of evil rulers, anyways,
Sorry, that was like a fat game. I'm a big guy myself. That was stupid of me. Whatever. So it's more like a big head. It's more ego. Whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
And,
gotcha.
Well, you need intelligence to have an ego. Whatever. So I'm gonna keep doing sidebars here. But so they they cross the threshold, they get attacked by the weapon, but I guess because they're with Acton and that he's so powerful that I guess they survive the attack. I can understand him surviving the attack because he's like an all-powerful being. But I'm not sure just because you're in physical proximity of an all-powerful being that somehow you like get to siphon some of that person's power to yourself, whatever.
Well, speaking of the president, that's what happens when oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. Well, so they survive the attack, so now they can go to the actual planet and find the weapon or whatever. Turns out that the weapon is even lamer than we thought before. The weapon isn't even an actual weapon, it's just a mind weapon. It just makes you go insane. It doesn't do anything to you. So it just tricks your brain into thinking that you're seeing monsters. Again, though, my whole thing is, if it tricks your brain into thinking you're seeing monsters, why are you then seeing red bubbles? Like, who's afraid of red bubbles? Like, I don't, understand that. Like,
well, I used to be freaked out by that pink bubble on the Mr. Bubble container. He used to freak me out.
Yeah. So, or the game Bubble, the Nintendo game, what was it called? Bubble Bob or whatever?
Oh, yeah, Bubble Bob.
It was like a little kid's game. That game terrified me, though, as a kid, man. So.
Oh, yeah, I know. I used to have nightmares.
So apparently, this weapon is a mind weapon, which presumably would mean that each individual would have their own greatest fear that would manifest to them. Like, not everyone has the same fears in life or the same monsters that they're afraid of. So, like, some people might be afraid of snakes, so they'll see snakes. Some people might be afraid of, like, big animals like bears or tigers or lions.
Or some people might be afraid of big red bubbles.
You see red bubbles, but apparently everyone is afraid of big red bubbles in this universe because that's what everyone sees.
That's the name of my other band. It's called Big Red Bubbles. We're touring. Once we're allowed to go out in public again, we're going to be touring all over the universe. We're going to travel from planet to planet and play our bubble songs. Tiny Bubbles is our favorite, is our big hit. We do a cover of Tiny Bubbles.
Yeah, the band is called the Legion of Dark Worlds, and the album is Big Red Bubble.
Yep.
And so they find, so then Count Zarth tricked them. He wanted them to find his lair. That was all part of his big dark plan somehow. So then he's like, ha ha ha, and oh my god, the W on his laugh is the greatest thing ever. He's like, and then his laugh is like 2 seconds off.
And he's one of the few people that did their own voice in this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which is hilarious.
Oh my god. So he goes into a whole, villain speech, whatever. Like, this was my plan all along, and in 1 hour's time, I'm gonna destroy this planet and everything on it. And it's like, but that's your planet. That's your weapon. You're going to destroy your own weapon? What? It's like the Death Star self-destructed itself on purpose. There'd be no point of A New Hope. Like, Luke Skywalker's about to shoot, and he's like, all right, I got an eye, and then just blows up. He's like, okay, what happened?
That was
fun. Darth Vader, you want the shockwave to hurt you guys. Okay, we can just fly away from it. It's no big deal. Oh, well, that was the plan. Well, okay, I guess, but...
Yeah, so, God. I don't know, this movie's fun. Anyways...
Very fun.
I mean, it's interesting, that they wrote this movie based on the novelization of Star Wars. They never saw the movie. They read the book, though. And then got to work on their own version.
Right, because the books are a little bit different. They add the detail and stuff. So that's it. He may have thought Star Wars was so much different than what it actually was just by reading only the book version of it.
Yeah.
And so what else happened? I know the big robot monster machines, they have to guard the palace, not let them leave or whatever.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what else happened in this movie.
He says don't let them leave or kill them. He's gonna kill them in an hour anyway, so what does it matter if they leave? Whatever. And so they get into a big fight with the robots. This is funny. So apparently Axton can survive being shot with lasers to the chest at point blank range, like 7 different lasers. But if he gets stabbed in the arm, or not even stabbed, he just gets like
he got like a flesh wound on his shoulder. That was about it.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know. And somehow that killed him.
Or that was part of like his destiny or whatever, because he knew the future, so I guess he had to die from that, like somehow, whatever. And then his body just dematerializes in this weird, like, laser, shitty 80s or 70s effect, where it's just like a silhouette of his body and just looks like a bunch of colors. And then he just, disintegrates. But he said he'll live forever, so I'm not sure what that means. If that's like going back to his like religious days as a preacher, I mean, he'll live forever, like by the side of Christ or some shit like that. I don't know. But,
or they were setting it up for the sequel that they never made.
Yeah, exactly. And then they beat them, the robot monsters. David Hasselhoff. David Hasselhoff or Simon or Prince Simon. He kills the. By the way, somehow. Okay, so the laser sword. We're not going to call it a lightsaber. Laser sword. When Acton had it, it looked like it was part of his own like costume, like his shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
But then somehow David Hasselhoff had it later on as though it was like a separate thing. But when Acton had it, it was blue. And then when David Hasselhoff had it, I think it was green. So it's like, okay, so it changes colors now depending on who uses it. Okay, and
maybe it does. I don't know.
They never explained it, of course. And then they go back home. They tell the Emperor, like, hey, Count Zarth is gaining more power. This is going to be like the end game. Ooh, end game, get it?
Yeah.
And then, so then, like, Christopher Plummer's guy is like, we need to mount an attack, all stoic or whatever. So they're all just standing there watching as he sends all of like his regular soldiers to fight in the big final battle. It's like, okay, so like if that was Star Wars, and it's like all the main characters just sit out the final battle, and like we're just watching like these random characters that just show up for the first time in the entire movie, so we have like no emotional attachment to them whatsoever. It's like if Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and like Obi-Wan or whatever, they're all just like standing there watching like these randos fight to the death. Not only that, their big plan was, all right, we're going to shoot these torpedoes through the vacuum of space into the lair of the Count, and it's going to break the windows, but like nobody's getting sucked into space, so it's like, and okay.
Doesn't he like stop time at some point?
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, I forgot. Thank you. So yeah, they had to do a time stop to get out of the to get out of the planet, like the planet with all the red bubbles. So like he did a time stop for 3 minutes, only 3 minutes. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's a budget thing, but yeah, you can't do 5 minutes. Only 3 minute time stop. So then that gave them enough time to leave, and then the planet explodes. Blah blah blah. Yeah, and but I guess they only had that power to do that once. They couldn't do it multiple times for whatever reason. So whatever. And then so yeah, time stop is over. And then they go back to the Emperor's realm or whatever. And then they send the regular foot soldiers to fight the final battle instead of the main characters for some reason. And then they're like, we're going to shoot these torpedoes through their windows, which, that would be cool enough as it was. Like, all right, we'll just suck them into space. Great idea. No, it doesn't do anything. Like, okay, well, it won't suck them into space, but hey, they're torpedoes, right? They're missiles to blow up. Oh, no, they're not missiles. They're soldiers inside of the missiles who have laser guns and they pop out. Like, why not just shoot actual missiles at them?
You gotta go all Trojan horse with the thing or something, but not.
It's like you're wasting like your soldiers' lives for no reason. Like,
well, they knew what they signed up for when they.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, just like on a Death Star. You know, they knew what they were doing. The construction workers do the dangerous job. You know.
Hopefully, they got hazard pay. Anyways,
yeah.
Yeah, so then, I mean, basically, then what happens next, I'm trying to remember, it's like, the battle, like, between the Emperor and the Armada.
Yeah, well, it's okay. I watched the movie twice, and I watched, like, 3 different reviews of it, so it's still fresh in my
I watched it
mind
once,
right
1.5 times, because I got bored the second time.
Yeah, it's a boring movie, so...
Yeah.
They lose that battle, all the students get killed from their torpedoes, and then Count Zarth is like, I'm going to be the entire ruler, or the ruler of the entire universe. Oh, and then like, Stella Star's like, it's over, it's done, we lost. And then Christopher Plummer is like, it's not quite over, there's still one more move we can make. And then, like, David Hasselhoff is like, yes, there is the floating city or something like that. And it's like, what? And then it's like, Starcrash. And it's like, yes, we can go to their place undetected until the last second, and then we'll do a surprise attack or whatever. So apparently they got this floating city that apparently can just crash into things. I don't know, whatever. And then or it has a bunch of bombs, which why not just use some of those bombs before instead of sacrificing hundreds of your soldiers' lives who had families and children and spouses and nieces and nephews and uncles? They're like, no, we'll wait to the very last moment where we know we're going to lose before we pull this card, play this card. So, you know, fuck these soldiers. They deserve to die, apparently. So, because I'm the Emperor and I can just decide who lives and dies, I guess, because I'm Christopher fucking Plummer, piece of shit, pun intended. And, and no offense to him, I'm just saying.
Took me a second to get that, the Plumber joke. Okay, anyways.
Good. Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm proud of that one. So they do the Starcrash maneuver, which I'm either is a bunch of bombs or literally just crashed into his ship with an entire city. You just have to do it. But you'd also be risking the lives of the people in the city if you crashed into something. Whatever. So anyway, it works. And I tell you what, this is the greatest scene in movie history. This explosion scene goes on for like 2 straight minutes. Like, from every angle possible you could ever imagine. Like, oh, the sparks look great if we're looking up, but now we gotta look sideways. Now we gotta look down. Now we gotta look diagonally. And it looks like a bunch of Legos with a bunch of sparklers around it. Like, this goes on for like 2 minutes. And Count Zarth is going, the whole time as, you know, he's in his lair. And presumably he dies, but who knows? Because I guess they were going to make a sequel. They never did, but I bet you he would have come back, or maybe Thor would have come back or some shit. This time he's painted purple or something.
It's his brother Gore, and
Al Gore.
Yes. And then he fights that big Trump thing. Anyways, so yeah, and then they win, and Stella and Elle are picked up by Simon, and they embrace, and then the Emperor delivers a short victory speech. Yeah. And roll credits.
Oh, yeah, they rebuilt Elle. Elle came back, so he's alive again.
Yeah, forgot about that. So, do you want to take another break here, Matt, and then we'll come back with some like reviews and trivia and stuff?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Hey, folks, this is Michael E. Cullen II from the podcast that you're listening to right now, along with
Matthew Haas.
we just wanted to tell you about our great podcast called Super. It's called All Too Real. And on that show, what do we do, Matt?
We watch biopics, and then we talk about whether or not the movie matched up with the real story or not.
So
it's a lot more exciting than that, though.
Yeah, so we analyze the real story and the real story.
Get it?
Get it?
Real.
Yeah, they're spelled differently, folks. You can guess which one I said which way. Anyways, so sometimes we have guests, sometimes we don't. But we talk about great movies like Shattered Glass and The Social Network and Futile and Stupid Gesture, among others. Those are some of the ones that we've covered so far, and we're going to cover a lot more. So please subscribe on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your great, fun podcasts. And be sure to share it with your friends.
Do it.
And make sure you're not afraid to get all too real. Bye-bye. And we are back. Okay, so here's a little bit of interesting trivia about this movie. David Hasselhoff got food poisoning during the shooting of the film, and a production assistant in a mask filled in for a significant number of scenes. So that's probably why he was wearing that mask.
Oh my god.
So that wasn't even Hasselhoff half the time. And Hasselhoff also did most of his own stunts, and on his first day of stunt work, he accidentally knocked out an Italian stuntman's tooth.
Wow.
Yeah, Christopher Plummer was paid $10,000 per day for this movie.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, New World Pictures producer Roger Corman picked up the film the rights to it to see if a market existed for a low-budget space opera. This influenced his decision to go ahead with Battle Beyond the Stars 1980, which we should cover for this in the future. It's another great space opera. Yeah, and most of Christopher Plummer's scenes were shot in a single day. There was a dinosaur scene filmed but deleted. There was the character of Acton was originally devised as a grotesque alien, but Marjo Gortner refused to wear any heavy makeup. So the martial arts scenes were improvised on set, which makes sense. The Caroline Munro was originally going to wear the skimpy leather bikini outfit throughout the entire film, but American studio executives insisted that the writer-director have Munro wear less provocative clothing in the second half because they thought the film would have problems being broadcast on network television. Which as we know now, it's broadcast on network television like every week, right?
Right, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said before, Christopher Plummer admitted that he did the film so he could visit Italy for free. In an interview, he said, "Give me Rome any day. I'll do a porno in Rome as long as I can get to Rome. Getting to Rome was the greatest thing that happened in that for me."
That's hilarious.
In 1980, Caroline Munro appeared on the cover of the science fiction fantasy magazine Starburst, opposite Mark Hamill and Kirk Douglas. She was interviewed about this film, her other roles in other films, her childhood, and her modeling career. The magazine came with a bonus poster of her posing for the camera.
Wow.
Yeah, Joe Spinell also worked as who played Zarth. Also worked as a dialogue director on set. He dubbed his own voice using a different accent to hide his distinctive New York accent. So, yeah. Yeah, it's so that's kind of interesting. Do you want me to read some reviews from the film?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm going to find some reviews here from the Internet Movie Database, which is my favorite website.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Might be. I'm just saying that. Anyways, here, here is a 8 out of 10. Awfully good by Shark43 on November 30th of 2003. It's awful, all right. It's in a hilarious way. This movie is awful in almost every category: special effects, sound, costumes, set, acting, and the script. But if you like good cheese, if you can embrace the spirit of Ed Wood and others like him, then you'll love this campy sci-fi disaster. Marjoe Gortner gives one of the truly worst performances I have ever seen. He either is phoning it in or overacting like crazy. I swear, watching the beginning, he almost doesn't blink for an entire 10 minutes. Creepy. And for all of those who saw this movie as young lads, I can see why Miss Monroe would make such an impressive impression on you. Woo-wee! That's what I'm quoting with them, they said. Okay, and that that is some hot leather space bikini they have her in. She was gorgeous and all, but my God, some of the fight scenes are unintentionally hilarious. Good, silly fun. Yeah, basically, from all the reviews I'm reading, are basically they say Caroline Munro in a bikini is the only reason to watch the movie.
No, come on, you got Thor, man.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I feel like reading any more of these because they're all pretty much the same. To be honest. So I'm going to ask you, Matt, would you recommend this movie to anyone?
Oh, absolutely. Like especially now, if you want something that's just like, to make fun of, like, even if you are, practicing like, social distancing, do a watch party, FaceTime, whatever, watch it at the same exact time and just talk about it because it's unintentionally hilarious. I mean, it's not, it's not a spoof on purpose. It's an accidental spoof. But it's like,
yes.
I mean, it's probably funnier than Spaceballs in some ways because it's just like.
Oh, for sure. But I do love Spaceballs.
Oh yeah, me too. Are they making a sequel to that, or is that a rumor?
That rumor's been going around for like 15 years, so I don't know.
Okay.
It may happen. I hope so. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I would recommend this movie to people, like you said, for something fun to watch. But other than that, don't expect something good.
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't really expect anything good from most of the movies we review on this podcast. So,
yeah, pretty much, except for like
when we do things like Star Wars and and
yeah, Star Wars, Shattered Glass for the the other show.
Oh, that's the other show. Yeah, this show is different.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like on this show, or like when we did Aladdin or Avengers. But yeah. So, but if you did like this episode, please subscribe to our show. Give us a 5-star review on Apple or whatever podcast app you happen to be listening to this on, if they allow you to do that. And if they don't, go to one that does, because that really does help us to get more people to know that we exist and listen to us. check out our TeePublic, buy some merchandise, or as they call it in the biz, merch. I don't know where that came from, but that's what the kids call it.
Yeah.
All the cool kids, and and all the cool kids are also checking out Patreon and donating money for cool stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can help. It can help us out a lot in times like these. Because times like these,
Absolutely.
I learned to live again. Times like these. Oh, sorry. Anyways, not sure why I'm quoting Foo Fighters, but so anything else, Matt, before we head off into space?
Be safe. Right now, just be, try to have some fun, but try to be safe at the same time. Try not to, get too wrapped up into this whole, COVID-19 business. Just try to, maintain some kind of a schedule, routine. That's the only thing I can say right now is some kind of advice. We'll get through this. Just need to kind of be a little bit more cautious and safe than normal, and
wash your
still
hands.
Have fun. Yeah, wash your hands and face, and heck, even wash your fucking wrist and arms while you're at it. But because whatever, and then
take a shower, you dirty
take a
person.
shower every day. Yeah, just you don't gotta treat this like a pretend. We can still do things, we can still have fun, we just need to kind of just be a little bit safer about it right now.
And
because
this'll-
it's not a hoax, not a conspiracy.
And just so people know, this is the first episode. I'm gonna air this first, in our Star Wars saga that we're going to do. After this, join us. The next episode will be our episode on the original trilogy. I just figured we'd start out with a nice little fun aside in the world in the world of Star Wars wannabes, and yeah, we're just gonna do this little Star Wars little thing for a little bit. Next episode, join us, and we'll have a special guest here. It was already recorded prior to any of the craziness in the world, but but until next time, be good.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.